everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am going to be doing my first ever library book haul. I've never done one of these before, which is kind of weird because I'd say about 75% of the books that I read come from the library, but I never really found a point because in my opinion, isn't this just a TBR video? Like, these are the books that I plan to read within the next month or so that I can check them out from the library. So that's why I never did them before, but since I unintentionally stopped making monthly TBR videos, I figured now would be a good time to start with making library book hauls. That was a long-winded explanation. Anyway, let's get started. Guess I should probably start off with the book I am currently reading, which is Slasher Girls and Monster Boys. This is a collection of YA horror stories written by many famous YA authors that we all know and love. I'm currently reading this book. I'm only about 185 pages into it, but so far I'm kind of liking it. Here's the thing, if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, you probably know that I don't really like anthologies or short story collections, whatever you want to call them. I have read a lot of the popular YA short story collections, and by a lot I mean probably two, and I DNF'd all of them because I just don't really like short stories. I think it's because I need a lot more than the amount of pages that you get in a short story in order to really be invested in a story or characters. And it's just not enough time with short stories. However, I make an exception when it comes to horror stories or thrillers because they tend to be more engaging faster, if that makes sense. So I feel like I can enjoy the story a little bit more in less pages. Yeah, I had my eye on this one for quite a long time and I finally decided to actually pick it up. It also has stories written by a lot of my favorite authors like Leigh Bardugo and Danielle Page, also Marie Lu, and I just read a book by A.G. Howard and I really loved it. And I also just read a book by Jay Kristoff, so I'm looking forward to reading that story as well. But yeah, it includes a lot of my favorite authors, so I wanted to give it a read. But again, like with any short story collection, there's going to be ones that you prefer over the others, which makes it really difficult to rate because there could be a 5-star horror story and then one that you give 1 star, which is unfortunate. But yeah, so far it's a hit or miss kind of thing. The next two books that I plan to read from the library are Gemini and Obsidium by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. You can't really see the title of these because the library puts that like awful plastic binding on them, so it cuts it off from the way that the cover looks behind it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's supposed to look like this. But obviously you can't really see the title. So yeah, this is book 2 and 3 in the Illuminae trilogy. I just read Illuminae, as you can see, and I super duper loved it. I think it's my favorite book of the year so far, and so I am very excited to pick up the sequels. I'm sure you probably know what this series is about. If you don't, it's basically a sci-fi trilogy set in the future. It's told in like a mixed media format, so like through messages and like surveillance footage and stuff like that. It's really, really cool, and yeah, that's pretty much it for these. Another sequel that I picked up from the library is Bright We Burn by Kirsten White. This is the third and I believe final book in the And I Darken series. I think the official title is The Conqueror's Saga, but I've like never heard anybody actually refer to it as that. Y'all probably also know what this is about. It is the story of Vlad the Impaler, but a gender bend version, so he's a woman in the story. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how this trilogy will conclude. It's a very character-driven story, so I'm hoping that there's going to be some like heart-wrenching character deaths. So yeah. I also picked up Fame, Fate, and the First Kiss by Casey West. This is her latest novel, the only book that she's written so far that I haven't read yet. In the story, we follow a girl who just got her big break and she's starring in like a big Hollywood zombie film alongside Hollywood's hottest young male actor. So yeah, I did read the first chapter of this and then I never continued with it, but I'm hoping to pick it up today at some point and start reading it. I'm pretty excited to read it because Casey West is one of my favorite authors and she's definitely my favorite contemporary romance author, but I'm equally nervous because I can definitely feel myself not really being into the high school romance stuff anymore, and I also just haven't heard the greatest things about this book in particular, and that's even from other booktubers that I know really like her work as well, so I'm kind of afraid to read this book, but it's gotta happen because I've read every single one of her other books, so I can't possibly stop now. And then the final book that I picked up from the library, because I didn't think 5 books would be enough for 1 month, I picked up Neverworld Wake by Marisha Pessl. This is a young adult thriller, I believe. She is also the author who wrote Night Film, which I think is a new adult thriller. A lot of people rave about that book, absolutely love it. I actually own the book. I've owned it for a very long time, but I've refrained from reading it for whatever reason. I honestly don't know why. But then I heard somebody talk about this book, and I forget what it's about, to be completely honest, so I'm going to reread the synopsis. Okay, the synopsis didn't really give me much, but from what I've heard about it, I want to say it follows these like 5 friends, and the main girl that we follow, her boyfriend recently died, and there's some darkness surrounding his death that she wants to find out about. And I think it's something where they continuously replay the same day, and like something has to happen in order for them to find out what happened to her boyfriend or something like that. I don't know, but the plot sounded interesting to me when I heard somebody else talk about it. But they did mention that if you want to read this book and actually enjoy it, you should probably read it before you read Night Film, just because that book is so good that your expectations might be too high for this one. So that's what I decided to do. I'm going to read this, and if I like it, then I'm going to maybe finally pick up Night Film. So yeah, those are all of the books that I got from the library that I will be reading within the next month or 2. Leave me a comment down below and let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. Also, let me know if you'd like me to do more of these library book hauls, because like I said, I get a good 75 to 90% of the books that I read from the library. So yeah, that is all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!
You hear that, Samson?